Ladies and gentlemen, there are days when you wake up and the weight of the world presses down on your chest before your feet even touch the floor. Maybe it's heartbreak. Maybe it's the loss of a dream, a person, a job, or maybe it's that quiet ache of not being where you thought you'd be by now. But I want to tell you something, and I want you to hear me, not just with your ears, but with your soul. The pain you feel today will build your strength tomorrow. We are taught to avoid pain, to silence it, to bury it under busy schedules, smiling faces, and I'm fine. But pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is the fire that forges steel, the seed of strength planted in your weakest moments. Think back to the hardest chapter of your life, the one you didn't think you'd survive. Now realize you did. You're here, listening, breathing, still standing. And maybe that pain didn't disappear, but you grew around it. You learned. You shifted. That's what growth looks like. Not always loud, not always pretty, but powerful beyond measure. Education doesn't just happen in classrooms or on diplomas. Life is teaching us every day. Through grief, we learn gratitude. Through failure, we learn resilience. And through pain, we learn power, the kind of power that no one can give you and no one can take away. So when it hurts, don't rush it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Learn from it. Let it shape you. Because the same storm that shakes you also wakes you. Ladies and gentlemen, your pain has a purpose. And though it may not make sense today, one day you'll look back stronger, wiser, unshaken, and you'll say, "That was the day I began to rise." So hold on, lean in, and trust the process, because the pain you feel today is building the strength you'll need for tomorrow. Pain has long been misunderstood. From an early age, we're taught to avoid it, numb it, or ignore it entirely. We treat it as something to escape, something shameful, inconvenient, or even weak. But the truth is, pain is not a punishment. It's a signal, a sign that something inside of us is trying to grow, evolve, or wake up. The discomfort you feel today isn't there to destroy you. It's trying to develop you. When we begin to see pain not as the end, but as the beginning of something new, everything changes. You see, growth is uncomfortable by nature. Think about a child learning how to walk. They fall again and again, bump into furniture, wobble with uncertainty. But do we tell them to stop trying because they fell? Of course not. We cheer them on. We say, "Get up again. You're getting stronger." Somehow, as we grow older, we stop saying that to ourselves. We start to believe that struggle means failure, that difficulty means we're doing something wrong. But in truth, pain is part of the process. Just like that toddler who needs to stumble before they can stride, we need to fall forward in life before we can rise into the best version of ourselves. Think about how muscles grow. You don't build strength by sitting still. You build it by creating resistance, by pushing yourself past what's comfortable. The very act of lifting weights causes tiny tears in muscle fibers. And in response to that micro-damage, your body repairs and rebuilds those fibers stronger than before. Life works the same way. The moments that feel like they're tearing you apart, they're often the very ones where you're being rebuilt. Stronger, wiser, more capable. And most of the time, we don't even realize it until we've made it through. Pain doesn't come to stop us. It comes to test us, to ask us, how bad do you want it? How much are you willing to grow? And here's the thing, we don't get to become our future selves without shedding parts of who we used to be. That shedding process isn't easy. It's often full of discomfort, confusion, and yes, pain. But if you can learn to lean into it, instead of running away from it, you'll uncover a deeper strength than you ever imagined. What if the very thing you're avoiding is the path to your transformation? What if instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift alone turns pain from a dead end into a doorway. It opens your heart and mind to the lessons buried in the discomfort. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's showing you how strong your boundaries need to be. Maybe it's revealing your own courage, the kind you forgot you had. Everyone admires strength when it shows up on the outside, when someone stands tall, confident, successful. But what we forget is that inner strength is built in silence, in struggle, in solitude. It's in those private moments when you're holding back tears, showing up anyway, choosing not to give up. That's where real strength is born. It's forged in the fire of your toughest days. So the next time you're in pain, physical, emotional, or mental, don't be so quick to shut it down. Sit with it. Ask it what it's here for. Let it shape you, because the pain you feel today isn't random. It's not meaningless. It's part of a bigger process, a process that is building the strength, the wisdom, and the resilience you'll carry for the rest of your life. And when that future day comes, and you look back on the very moment you thought you couldn't handle, you'll realize that was the exact moment you were being prepared to rise. The difference between those who rise through adversity and those who are defeated by it often comes down to one thing: mindset. Pain in life is inevitable. Every single person walking this earth will encounter it in relationships, in careers, in health, in dreams that don't go as planned. But what separates people is how they think about that pain. Because the way we frame our experiences determines whether pain becomes a prison or a platform. A powerful mindset doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It doesn't mean denying your pain or putting on a fake smile when you're breaking inside. A powerful mindset means being honest about the pain, but choosing to believe that something good can come from it. It's refusing to let your hardship define you. It's standing in the middle of your storm and saying, "This is not where my story ends." When we shift our mindset, we shift our power. Think of pain like a weight. The more you resist it, the heavier it feels. But when you learn how to carry it differently, when you reframe it, it becomes manageable, even purposeful. That doesn't mean the pain disappears, but it no longer controls you. You begin to lead your story instead of letting pain lead it for you. Mindset is the lens through which we interpret our circumstances. It determines whether you see failure as a dead end or a detour. It determines whether rejection becomes your reason to quit or your fuel to grow stronger. Your mindset influences every choice you make, how you talk to yourself, how you show up, how you keep going when everything in you wants to stop. Some of the most successful, influential people didn't get where they are because life made it easy for them. They got there because they trained their minds to respond to pain with purpose. They learned to say, "Okay, this is hard, but it's not the end. I'm still breathing. I'm still learning. I'm still moving." That kind of mindset doesn't happen by accident. It's built, one thought at a time, one decision at a time. You can start to change your mindset by asking better questions. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" try, "What strength is being built in me right now?" Instead of, "I can't handle this." What part of me is rising to meet this challenge? These questions create space for growth. They shift your focus from helplessness to possibility. Pain tests the stories we tell ourselves. It's easy to feel strong when everything is going well, but when life pulls the ground from under you, that's when your mindset gets revealed. That's when you find out if you're rooted in fear or in faith, in doubt or in determination. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to believe that the answers will come. It's about trusting that this moment, this painful, frustrating, seemingly unfair moment, is not a full stop, but a comma, a pause in your sentence, a chapter in your story, not the story itself. Every day you get to choose what kind of mindset you'll carry into the world. You can choose to be defined by pain or refined by it. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. That choice, though difficult, is always yours. When you meet pain with the right mindset, you turn it into something meaningful. You build resilience. You build character. And ultimately, you build a life not untouched by pain, but one empowered by it. A life where your strength didn't come from comfort, but from courage. From the decision to keep showing up even when it hurt. Because with the right mindset, pain becomes not the thing that stopped you, but the very thing that started your transformation. Struggle often arrives without warning. It doesn't knock politely, it kicks the door down. And in those moments, it can feel like everything is falling apart, like the ground beneath your feet has disappeared. But buried inside every struggle is a lesson, waiting patiently for us to see it. Most people rush to get past the hard part. They want to move on, escape, forget. But those who pause, reflect, and lean into the discomfort often discover something powerful, that the struggle wasn't just pain. It was instruction. Life has a way of teaching in whispers and in roars. Sometimes the lessons are subtle, a missed opportunity, a quiet disappointment. Other times, they're loud heartbreak, failure, betrayal, loss. We don't always understand it in the moment. We ask, why is this happening to me? Or what did I do to deserve this? But hindsight is a great teacher. Looking back, many people find that their greatest lessons came not from their victories, but from their valleys. Struggle reveals things about us that success never could. It strips away what's fake. It tests what's real. It shows us what we truly believe, what we're willing to fight for, and what needs to change. It reveals who shows up when everything goes wrong, including ourselves. When everything feels broken, we're forced to rebuild. And in the rebuilding, we often discover new truths about our purpose, our boundaries, our strength, and our capacity to heal. The truth is, education doesn't just happen in school. Life is the greatest classroom, and pain is often its sharpest professor. The lessons we learn through struggle aren't written in textbooks. They're written in late-night tears, in conversations we never wanted to have, in the silence of solitude when it feels like the world has forgotten us. Those are the moments where we meet ourselves, not the version we show to the world, but the one that's raw, honest, and hungry to grow. And what do we learn in those moments? We learn patience. We learn that some things take longer than we want them to. And that's okay. We learn humility, that we don't have all the answers, and we're not supposed to. We learn empathy because once you've walked through pain, you start to recognize it in others, and you treat them with more compassion. And we learn strength, the kind that doesn't look like muscle, but like grace under pressure, like showing up when it would be easier to quit. Every challenge contains a choice. Resist the lesson or embrace it. And while embracing it won't make the pain disappear, it will give the pain purpose. It will allow you to grow through what you go through. It turns suffering into insight, wounds into wisdom. It allows you to look back and say, I wouldn't wish that season on anyone, but I wouldn't trade what I learned from it either. Sometimes life closes a door not to punish you, but to redirect you. Sometimes the rejection you thought would break you is the redirection that made you. Sometimes what feels like the end is actually the beginning of something more aligned, more powerful, more you. But you won't see that if you only focus on the pain. You have to look deeper. You have to be willing to ask, what is this moment here to teach me? The lesson may not come quickly. Sometimes it takes months, years, even decades to understand why a certain chapter had to happen. But trust that the lesson is there, shaping you in ways you can't yet see. Because struggle isn't meaningless. It's a message. And when you're brave enough to listen, you'll realize that every hard thing you've been through was preparing you for something greater than you imagined. That's the quiet gift of struggle. It teaches us not just how to survive, but how to rise. Pain is temporary, but the strength it produces can last a lifetime. The emotions that overwhelm you in the moment, frustration, grief, exhaustion, they feel like they'll last forever. But they won't. What stays with you long after the pain is past is what it taught you, how it shaped you, and the power it built inside you. Most people don't realize this while they're in the middle of the storm. They just want the discomfort to stop. But those who learn to endure, reflect, and grow through pain discover that it becomes a defining force in their lives, one that builds not just character, but resilience and purpose. There is a kind of strength that cannot be taught in comfort. It doesn't come from ease or routine. It comes from being stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. It comes from walking through seasons where everything seems uncertain and still finding the will to keep going. That strength isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it shows up in quiet determination in getting out of bed when you'd rather stay down, in continuing to believe when the evidence tells you not to, in showing up for life even when life hasn't shown up for you. Pain demands attention, and for good reason. It forces us to stop, to look inward, to confront the parts of ourselves we often ignore. It exposes our limits but also expands them. What was once unimaginable slowly becomes possible. The heartbreak that once shattered you no longer defines you. The failure that once felt like the end becomes the exact moment you began to rebuild. You start to see that pain didn't weaken you. It was the training ground where your strength was born. When you allow yourself to fully experience and process pain rather than avoiding it, you begin to extract its deeper meaning. This doesn't mean glorifying suffering or pretending to enjoy it. It means recognizing that pain is a signal of growth. Something in you is transforming. Your old beliefs, habits, expectations, all of them are being challenged. And while that's uncomfortable, it's also necessary. Because without change, there is no progress. And without pain, there is rarely any real change. Every time you endure something hard, you gain a new kind of endurance. You learn what you're capable of, and that knowledge becomes part of you. It informs your choices, your confidence, your empathy for others. That strength becomes your foundation, something you can build on again and again, no matter what life throws at you. And because you've been through it, you're no longer afraid of the struggle. You know it won't break you. You've already been broken, and you rebuilt. Over time, this process shapes a version of you that is rooted, grounded, and unshakable. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You became someone who doesn't just survive, you lead, you uplift, you inspire. And that's the greatest gift pain can give, the ability to use your story, your strength, and your scars to help others find their own power. In the beginning, the pain feels personal. But as you grow through it, you begin to see that your transformation has the potential to be bigger than you. Your healing becomes a light for someone else's darkness. Your strength becomes proof that rising is possible. That kind of impact is not born in ease. It's born in adversity. It's forged in the fire of moments that once felt unbearable. So when you face pain, real, raw pain, don't rush to escape it. Let it do its work. Let it break what needs breaking and build what needs building. But you will remember who you became because of it. And that person, strong, steady, unshaken, will be living proof that the pain you felt yesterday gave birth to the strength you carry today. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're going through right now, the pain, the pressure, the uncertainty, it is not in vain. It's doing something deep within you. It's building a foundation. It's preparing you in ways you can't yet see. The tears you've cried, the nights you've questioned your worth, the moments you felt like giving up, they're not signs of weakness. They're signs of transformation. You're being refined, not ruined. Strength is not something you wake up with. It's something life teaches you, over time, through experience. And every experience, especially the painful ones, are shaping a version of you who is wiser, braver, and more powerful than ever before. So don't despise your process. Don't rush your healing. Let the struggle speak. Let the lessons rise. Because the pain you feel today, one day it will become your power. One day it will be the story you tell that gives someone else hope. One day you'll stand taller, not in spite of what you've been through, but because of it. Keep going. Keep rising. And remember, your strength is already on its way.